So welcome back everyone. Today is the second day of our UGC-NET Paper I class. Today we will be focusing on the characteristics and basic requirements of teaching. So let's move on to the subject. Um, First, we will be focusing on the nature of teaching. So what is the what is the difference between characteristics and nature? If we go through, if we search in the Google, a direct meaning means it would provide as a same thing. Just a minute. This. When we go for nature and characteristics, regarding nature, it is a common traits for every uh, human or whatever object we are taking it as for testing. Likewise, if there is a human, he would walk with two legs. He has two eyes. Yeah, he has five senses. All those things are nature of human being. Likewise, we can go for animals. Similarly, here teaching has a certain nature. So, nature of the teaching, the first thing can be said as it is as a dynamic, social as well as human. So, a teaching should not be a static. What means ஒரு சிம்பிளா ஒரே ஒரு விஷயத்துல நிக்கிற மாதிரி without any movement or any further development. Likewise, as we discussed yesterday, it also should focus on the social development and bring out the humanly possible characteristics in among the students. As we are focusing on the students, we can talk about students itself. So the nature of the teaching should primarily focus. It would be bringing out the human characteristics as well as bringing out the social cultures, all those things. Next, teaching can be said as both arts and science. Why? Because you can teach art. யூ கேன் இப்போ ஒரு ஸ்டூடெண்ட்டுக்கு வந்து நம்ம வந்து ஒரு அவங்கள இன்வோக் பண்ணி வி கேன் பிரிங் அப் டிராயிங். லைக்வைஸ் வி கேன் என்கரேஜ் கிட்ஸ் டு டிரா வேரியஸ் டிஃப்ரெண்ட் திங்ஸ். தாரே ஜமீன் பர் படம் பார்த்துருந்தீங்கன்னு தெரியும். அதுல வந்து த கிட் ஹேஸ் இன்ஸ்பிரேஷன் ஃப்ரம் visit to nearby lake or pond something. Likewise, it also applies for science. Why? Because so science can be what is the basic common traits of a science means we do a research, we observe experiment, we do a research and we test the results. We try to improve in a positive manner of those obtained results. Similarly, we teach a student, we encourage him to do whatever things as per his wish as well as in accordance with the societal norms and academics. Then we try to establish and bring out the best of outputs from him. So the teaching can be said as both arts and science. Then it is diverse in applications. நம்ம ஒரு விஷயத்திலே டீச்சிங் வந்து we cannot stop with a very single thing, because teaching can be made into applied into very many different things. So likewise, these three can be said as nature of teaching. Now next, coming to the characteristics. இப்போ characteristicsனா என்ன, we take the same human example. Every human has five senses, learning mind, everything. Those are nature. But character, what we are using, how we are using, whatever we gain from that, and how we are behaving, our attitude, our own beliefs, those are all the characteristics of a particular individual human. So this applies to teaching also. So my way of teaching would be one certain thing, and among here every scholar might be someday a teacher. So their way of teaching, their way of approach would be different. So a common set of characters should be there. It is being insisted. Those things are: first, teaching is a system of actions. Like yesterday we saw one view, person's view. So it is a system of actions. Teaching just not start just because it appears we want to obtain an objective. We have to proceed with a proper teaching plan. நம்ம வந்து ஸ்டெப் பை ஸ்டெப்பா தான் ஒரு குழந்தைக்கு பேசிக் எல்கேஜில இருந்து ஆல்பபெட்ஸ், தென் நியூமெரிக்கல்ஸ், அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து பேசிக் மேக்ஸ், next we move on to the somewhat middle level. Now we as a scholars, we are in certain level of knowledgement in a particular subject. So this has been achieved through a system of actions both by us as well as the teachers or guides who have guided us. Next, it is a professional activity. நம்ம இப்ப professional அப்படின்ற வேர்டு எடுத்தோம்னா, not every person is a professional. ஏன்னா நம்ம வந்து the one person who is performing very big manner, in a very better manner compared to others, we will call that person as a professional. So how come it is achieved? Commonly we ourselves have designated a certain set of frameworks or a certain set of traits that a person in a relevant job should have. இப்ப ஒரு உதாரணத்துக்கு, if we call some person as a doctor, he or she should have a stethoscope. If they are holding on to that, automatically we will call them as a doctor. Next, they should wear a white coat. If they are not wearing that, we would be we won't approve at the street itself as them as doctors. Similarly, teaching also should be a involvement of and development of students' personality. So we have to make certain things as our own professional activity. We should primarily focus on the development of the student whom we are teaching. Next comes subjected to analysis and assessment. நம்ம பொதுவா ஒரு டெஸ்ட் வைக்கிறோம். நம்ம அந்த டெஸ்ட் வந்து not only for students, but the test and analysis is applicable to the teachers also. Why? Because certain years back some theories might be in the development stage. நம்ம ஒரு பெஸ்ட் எக்ஸாம்பிள் எடுக்கணும்னா, first Galileo was the first person to say that earth is round, not flat. He devised some theories or some formulas based on that. Next came Newton. He said that except mass, everything is not constant. Then comes Einstein. He said that even mass is also not constant. Everything is changing. So based on the previous experience or previous knowledge obtained through either review of literature or our own way of understanding, we are improving certain things. So first we are analyzing one thing, then assessing, then we are proceeding with the further improvement with the proper feedback. So this is also one of the characteristics of teaching. Next, it is an interactive process. Now இப்ப நான் வந்து உங்ககிட்ட வந்து கேப்பே விடாம இப்ப நேத்து ஃபீட்பேக் நான் வற்புறுத்தி கேட்டாலும் ஏன் கேட்கறதுனா, it should be interactive because not every person cannot be right at all times. I might make some mistakes even now also. So that means I have to be careful and I have to interact with my students. Here you are listening to me. Similarly, when I am going to teach in a class, I have to interact with the students because I have to understand whether the point I am trying to convey to them is understandable, absorbed or not. So likewise, it should be a interactive process where collective purpose and objectives are attained. Next, it can be said as specialized task. This one is the in our current daily life. I suppose this point is very much relevant today because specialized task means an MBBS only can be a doctor, not MBA graduate or MSc graduate can be a doctor. They might learn, they could adapt, but without any proper certification or license, they cannot practice as a doctor. Similarly, that applies also an engineer, even a teacher, and here teaching comes under all professions, so it is a common thing. So when I'm going to teach a subject, I should be well versed, if not expert. I should be a minimum well versed with the syllabi prescribed for that subject. Then only with my own skill set, I can take a proper class and guide the students in a better manner. If not, the total teaching process would be a farce. It would be a farce. Just a moment, please. So, next, it is a collection of various modes. Teaching is a collection of various, because when you, as we discussed earlier, if you search the term meaning for teacher in Google, it would give very many words. Here, there are something, because conditioning, the conditioning means we are training or disciplining the students. So that is also a teacher's job. Training in a particular aspect, either it is running or coaching or swimming or whatever. So that is training. Instead of training, just providing instruction, that is also teacher. So here indoctrination means incorporating certain beliefs. So சின்ன வயசுல நம்மளுக்கெல்லாம் வந்து மாரல் கிளாஸஸ் இருக்கும். அது எத்தனை பேருக்கு இருந்துச்சுன்னு எனக்கு தெரியல. ஸோ இந்த மாரல் கிளாஸஸ் அவர் டீச்சர்ஸ் யூஸ் டு சே திஸ் திங் இஸ் குட், வி ஷுட் ஹெல்ப் த புவர், வி ஷுட் நாட் சே லைஸ், லைக்வைஸ் அந்த மாதிரி நம்மளுக்கு இருந்திருக்கும். பட் அந்த வகையான டீச்சிங்ஸ் should be applied at all stages of life, not just the school level alone. And here they have clearly mentioned that although these words are similar, relevant to the teaching word, but they are not a synonym for teaching. So all these are combined and contributing to the teaching process. So these are the characteristics of teaching. So next, goals of teaching. Yesterday we saw objectives of teaching, today goals of teaching. So what is the biggest difference between, or what is the common difference between goals as well as objectives? So objectives can be said as short term goals or immediate attainment
Sir, one
points.
second, one second. We didn't get the
Yes,
slide of goals of teaching. We also didn't get the slide of characteristics of teaching. The slide is not changing for me. Now only it is
now,
changed. It's now it is visible.
so now,
Now okay.
okay.
Hmm.
So shall I again repeat the characteristics of teaching, or shall I
No,
move
no,
on
no.
to the
You
next?
can go, you can go.
Okay, so goals of teaching. So goals of teaching பாத்தீங்கன்னா objectives versus goals.
Sir, goals of
Goals
teaching
are,
திரும்ப தெரியல. Slide இப்போதான் தெரியுது.
just a minute. That's why I sharing entire screen. Do you see now? Excuse me, anyone?
Yes, sir.
Slide தெரியுதா?
தெரியுது கோல்ஸ் ஆஃப் டீச்சிங் தெரியுது.
இப்ப இப்ப தெரியுதா?
தெரியுது தெரியுது. கிளியரா
Okay,
இருக்கு சார்.
okay, thank you. So thank you. So let me move on. Goals பாத்தீங்கன்னா it is a long term process. Objectives are the short term process. We recently for our NAC visit, we have formulated and assessed the syllabus for objectives, program outcome objectives, or program specific outcome objectives. Likewise, we have formulated and we did some work regarding NAC. So those objectives are, till the syllabus is reframed, those objectives are valid. Now in our university, for the aim, they are going to change the syllabus. That means those previous objectives may not be valid. They might either continue or they may be disbanded. Whereas goals, our ultimate goal is to bring out a proper MBA graduate student through the syllabus preferred or prescribed here. So these should be the goals. Likewise, Here, for goals of teaching, it should bring changes in the behavior of the students. நல்லா நோட் பண்ணுங்க, நம்ம நேத்து பார்த்ததுல இருந்து இன்னைக்கு வரைக்கும் everything is giving preference to the behavior and change, not the preference for giving imparting knowledge and all those things are coming as a secondary or tertiary. The primary focus is being given to the behavior changes of students. So that is the first goal. Next, conditioning. So learning skills of students, நம்ம காமனா ரொம்ப பெஸ்ட் எக்ஸாம்பிள் 2 lines and 4 lines note for handwriting improvement. Schools எல்லாம் we used to get that for in order to improve a handwriting in English we used to follow 4 lines. For improving handwriting in Tamil we used to follow 2 lines. That is improving the skills. That is our conditioning. We have to write certain pages, 2 pages or 3 pages every day, so that we can improve our handwriting. Next comes the training. So shaping behavior and conduct. How means ஃபர்ஸ்ட்டுக்கும் தேர்டுக்கும் என்ன வித்தியாசம் அப்படின்னு நான் ஒரு விஷயம் சொல்லிடுறேன். ஃபர்ஸ்ட்டுக்கு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா the changes should be made within the students. He or she should feel that yes, I accept what he is saying, what the teacher is saying, so that I can change my behavior. The third one is totally different. We are compulsorily pushing the students to act in a certain way. That is for the certain behavior. இப்போ ஒரு இன்டர்வியூக்கு போறோம்னும் போது ஷூ, பேண்ட்ஸ் அண்ட் டை இந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்கள் ஆர் எக்ஸ்பெக்டட். Similarly, in a classroom or in an educational institution, the dress code and way of total haircut, everything, the students should follow or must follow at all times. This is the shaping behavior and conduct. This is training, that is teaching. So training வந்து they may be willing or they may not be willing, but teaching it should come only based on their own willingness. They should accept that. Next comes the fourth point only, instruction. Here is the acquisition of knowledge. So what is to be done, whether it is regarding to the subject or their own lifestyle or in even in their own dress code also. நம்ம இப்ப வந்து ஒரு சிலர் வந்து ட்ரெஸ்ஸிங் கரெக்டா ப்ராப்பரா இல்லைன்னு we used to request them or we used to force them to change the dress code. Even today it is happening. So likewise, that also comes under acquisition of knowledge. So that is instruction. We are instructing the students. Next comes the indoctrination. Indoctrination ரொம்ப சிம்பிள், தமிழ் ஒரே வார்த்தை, போதகம் பண்றது, போதித்தல். We are preaching something towards the students that turns into belief among the students. Nowadays this is a very hard thing. It is hard to form. Likewise, it is once it is formed it is hard to erase. So இதை எங்க நீங்க பெட்டரா பார்க்கலாம்னா, nowadays youngsters are following certain election parties and then certain kind of behavior. ரொம்ப basic recent example, everyone is turning their photos into Ghibli studio through ChatGPT. What is there to get? அதுக்குதான் recently I saw Instagram post. One person said that why are you all going for Ghibli? Why not going for our own Indian style of cartoon or other countries dream Disney cartoons likewise. So the formation of beliefs, everyone is doing something, we are also should do that. Likewise, we are forming a belief and following that pattern. That is indoctrination. Previously, teachers used to impart that. Nowadays, social media and our own technical assistant gadgets are indoctrinating us into a certain way of life. So next, move on to the requirements of teaching. We will be seeing each and everything in a slow manner. First of all, there are 3 variables for teaching. We will be seeing in the next slides. Next comes professionalism, then suitable environment. At last, then student-teacher relationship, students' discipline. Last point is, please note that teachers' devotion to teaching as well as students' devotion to learning. So both are required for the teaching process. If the student is not willing to learn, no matter how hard the teacher is putting so much work, the process would be waste. Similarly, it is also vice versa. If the teacher is not guiding or putting wholeheartedly his own work into the teaching process, then no matter how bright the student, they won't get enough knowledge through the teaching process. So moving on to the next. These are the three variables of teaching. First one is dependent variable, second is independent, third is intervening. So what are all those things? Dependent variable. Here, student is the dependent variable. Student is depending on the teacher to gain some knowledge or skill so that he can develop into a better person and face the society. So because of that, the student is subjected to different kinds of changes and developments through the efforts of teacher and teaching process. இப்ப நம்ம பழைய காலத்துல பாத்தீங்கன்னா பேசிக் ஒரு காமன் கதை ஒண்ணு சொல்லுவாங்க. அகைன் கோயிங் டு மகாபாரதா, வேற when the guru asked in ஆர்ச்சரி, வில்லுல வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா எல்லாரையும் வந்து குறி வச்சு அங்க என்ன தெரியுது, what do you see, what do you see, everybody say I'm seeing a tree, I'm seeing a leaf, I'm seeing a parrot, but only Arjuna will say I am seeing the parrot's eye, bird's eye, because that was the task given to the student by the teacher. So he hones his skills where he is hardening his process so that he becomes the greatest master in the particular skill set. அதுதான் கடைசியில நடக்குது. So Arjunan, even nowadays Arjuna is called as the best archer in the whole of Mahabharata, though there might be background so many disagreements, but it is a common term we are using. So likewise, the student is subjected here for various changes and developments through the effects of the teacher and teaching process. Next, in the process of teaching, so that student is the functional or active part. ரெண்டுமே அவங்க கண்டிப்பா வந்து without a student there is no teaching process. So he plays a active part. Next comes the independent variable. ஒரு டீச்சர் வந்து அவங்க விருப்பப்படி எப்படி வேணா மெத்தட் யூஸ் பண்ணலாம். இப்ப நம்ம கிளாஸை லெட்ஸ் டேக் எக்ஸாம்பிள் அவர் ஒன் கிளாஸ் இட் செல்ஃப். ஃபார் அ சிம்பிள் டாபிக், ஆக்சுவலி I was discussing with my fellow scholars, the total unit 1 consists of totally 53 PPTs, 53 slides. I downloaded a PPT from online. So if 53 PPTs means at the most it comprises of 2 hours of class. But what we are doing here, we are separating or we are segregating, segmenting each of the topic. Then we assign for each set of topic 1 hour, which comprises a whole of 9 hours for this unit 1 alone. So for a whole of unit 1, instead of 2 hours, we are focusing and training on 9 hours. So that's how here I took the liberty to form such a framework or a schedule plan so that I can take time and give you a deep insight on what is the topic and what it is about. So here the teacher is an independent variable. I can change however I can want till the class ends. So based on my own adjustment, you guys would be adjusting according to my slide plan. If I complete fast rapidly, I do that within 5 minutes. If I close the slides, then the class is over. That is my independency, but you are dependent on that. This is the common example. So the teacher is responsible for the functioning of students. Whether I have to, if I say for some example, if I say tomorrow the class cannot be taken at 7 o'clock, we will postpone to 7:30. You will all be coming at 7:30. Maybe there might be some disagreements. Still, if we can postpone as a collective process. So I am responsible for your own time in the whole 60 days. So I am free to act in the process since you are depending on me. So here the teacher plans, organizes and leads. I have the total control for the process of teaching. How I want to teach, at what, why, how many numbers of slides I have to prepare. I have the control. So I am planning what are all the slides to be included. I am organizing on how order, because when you search in the general term, nature won't be coming in this topic itself. Like yesterday, we saw that different terms for teacher, Sanskrit words, that won't be coming in this topic. But I am preferring to include in that. So I am planning that. Then I am organizing on which order it should come. So now I am proceeding, leading with that process. I am controlling the process for which I have to give more importance, for which I have to give more examples. I am controlling the process. Similarly, for the like dependent variables, independent variables also playing an active part in the process of teaching. Next, the third one is intervening variable. This is the common thing. So in order to, here they are prescribing as dependent and independent. I am saying it as teacher and student. In order to the teacher and student to interact with each other, they need certain tools. For if that certain type of tools are not met, they cannot achieve the relevant prescribed goals of teaching. So let me tell you an example. Once I heard that in excuse me. Once I heard while Srimati Pratibha Patil was president, the security guard with her, he was competing for Olympics in a certain category. I don't remember the exact category. So when president asked him whether can you achieve a gold medal or even a top medal level, what he said was, I don't, two kinds of machineries, gym machineries or training machineries. He said that, Madam, I don't have, or those kind of machineries is not available with me. So it is very tough for me to achieve the relevant medal goal. So the president ordered immediately to the obtaining of the certain machinery, so that the security, the bodyguard, who he can train better, and he participated in the Olympics. I didn't know whether he got medal or not. Still, this was the relevant thing. So I have been planning for taking the online class for almost a year, but I didn't have relevant set of, because I had a government laptop which don't even have the camera. So at that time I could only rely on the phone. So with the phone I could not take any online class. Now I got the laptop, new laptop. So now I am hoping that I can proceed with the class. Hence I started the class. So whatever goal of achievements, even though the teacher and student are in better way, they should need a relevant tools or equipments in order to achieve the prescribed goal to for the betterment of it in a better process. So this is the role played by the intervening variables. So here we can say that in teaching, the content of teaching, as I said earlier, so the content of teaching, which should be included, which should not be included. Then methods and techniques. Instead of PPT, if I can prepare a video and just I run it, that is a different method and technique. And then tactics and strategies. In the upcoming numerical methods, we would be following certain strategies to achieve our own goal. So those tactics and strategies might change from each teacher, because I have one certain way of strategy and you might have something. If the third party who is not in this group, he might have some better strategy. Likewise, tactics and strategies are the intervening variables. Last, management of instruction material, etc. These are all the intervening variables. So these three variables are the three important variables of teaching. So first one is dependent variables, which is a student. Second one is independent variable, which is a teacher. Third one is a intervening variable, the contents and whatever all the equipments and tools in helping the teaching process, those are all the intervening variables. So next, moving on to the next requirement, professionalism. இந்த விஷயம் வந்து ஆக்சுவலி இப்ப நிறைய இடத்துல இருக்கிறது இல்லை. தட் இன்க்ளூட்ஸ் மீ ஆல்சோ. ஏன்னா ஸோ நம்ம பாத்தீங்கன்னா, உங்களுக்கு வந்து இப்ப நம்ம ஒரு இடத்துல வேலைக்கு போறோம். we are going to job for a place. How many of us are fully having strong belief that I can attain the job very efficiently with my own skill set. நம்ம அந்த கொஸ்டினை போஸ்ட் பண்ணா நம்மள நிறைய பேர் டக்குன்னு அந்த முடிவுக்கு வர மாட்டாங்க. தட் இன்க்ளூட்ஸ் மீ ஆல்சோ. பிகாஸ் I have certain lacking of knowledge in certain things, certain aspects. So, in order to be a professional, we have to be a minimum guarantee in all aspects. That includes the way of dressing, way of speaking, commonly way of speaking. இப்ப நம்ம ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் பண்றது பல நேரங்கள்ல நம்மளுக்கு கோவம் வரும். காமனா அந்த கோவத்தை வரக்கூடாது. We should not use any derogatory remarks on the students if we are not satisfied with the students behavior. So that would be very much bad or create bad impact among the students. So we have to maintain professionalism. So professionalism in teaching means those are the set of implied and explicit standards where educators already நம்மளுக்கு prescribe பண்ணி வச்சிருக்காங்க. As I said, இப்ப பாத்தீங்கன்னா when I was in UG, our professors are compulsorily indicated to tie a tie in his tie கட்டிட்டு வரணும். அதாவது அவங்க அப்படிதான் வரணும். They should compulsorily wear a leather shoe, not some sport shoe or something. The staff should be tucked in and we neatly holding a tie on their chest. So these are all the professional expectations from the professors when I was in UG. This applies to similarly nowadays in many colleges. Likewise, previously as we discussed one interview process, when we are going for an interview, we should have a proper haircut, we should have a proper dressing etiquette, manners, everything we should be having. So that thing only would be considered as professionalism. So in the field of education, it is involving with the interacting with students. நம்ம வந்து not just students, colleagues, administrators, parents, so whatever persons we meet here, ஒண்ணு இல்ல, நம்ம ஏதாவது தப்பா சொல்லிட்டோம்னா வார்த்தையா என்ன வாத்தியார் அந்த கிட்ட இப்படி பேசுறீங்க. So being a teacher, you are being so much rude. So it is not acceptable. We are not accepting. How come you have become a teacher? How come you become a professor? That this applies also to other professions also. So likewise, they would be criticizing. So whether knowingly or unknowingly, if you are in a profession, you are expected to follow the basic etiquette of that profession. Then only you would be considered as the professional in that profession. So for a teacher, he first of all he should have a proper communication. He should have a proper understanding of students. He should deliver a correct. He should have great knowledge of what he is teaching. Then only the students would be encouraged to learn in a proper manner. For that professionalism, they are suggesting 5 P's. First one is be participative. நம்ம ஒரு ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸோட இன்டராக்ஷன் இருக்கும்போது அவங்க என்ன சொல்ல வராங்க, வாட் ஃபீட்பேக் தே ஆர் கிவிங், வாட் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் சிச்சுவேஷன் தே ஆர் கம்மிங் ஃப்ரம். I don't know whether I have discussed with friends. I'm just sharing one small incident in my own life. When I was teaching in college, there was a student. That was my first teaching experience as a professor. So I don't have that much experience or etiquette for that profession. So when I entered the class, every day he would be sleeping in the first bench, not just normal lying down. He would put his legs on the writing desk. He would be sleeping. Every day I would get irritated because for the first hour entering the class, when a student is sleeping like that, I just get very much irritated. So for many long time, though I didn't scold him very badly, still I had some bad opinion about that fellow. So after a few months, one night when I was visiting with my wife and children to purchase a dress, there in that textile shop he was working. So he fondly called me, sir, how are you? Why are you here? What kind of dress you like? Then I inquired him, what are you doing here? He says that after every day, the completion of college at 2 o'clock, he would at 2:30 he would go to work in the textile shop. So till 9:30 or almost 10 he would be working there. that also not a normal dress distributing. He used to carry that layman terms மூட்டை தூக்குற மாதிரி அந்த லோடு எல்லாம் எடுத்துட்டு அவன் அதை வேலை பார்ப்பான். So he used to work till 10. Then he would catch bus. He has to go almost 20 to 25 kilometers. His village is out of town, so he has to catch bus. Then he will go there. At that time he would be reaching almost 11:30 to his home. Next, he was training, having physical training for a SI exam or something, constable in police area. So for that he would be reaching the college in 7 o'clock morning itself. If I'm not 6, I don't know exact time, but that would be earlier to 7 only. So again he would be coming there. He will be doing every training, whatever physical training, running, climbing, everything. Then while we understand why he is sleeping first hour in the class. After learning his situation, I totally stopped scolding him, or I just leave him. You sleep wherever you want, you leave it. So similarly, in our own life, wherever we go, every student might have certain kind of problems or hurdles in their own life. So we cannot just go on and judge them. So we have to be participative in their own interactions also. Then again we should be providing positively. The feedback should be positive, even though it is a negative feedback also, we should say it in a very positive, polite manner. Then third one, plea means help. So here we have to be ready to seek help from either even students also, or some our own colleagues. So we might not know certain topics. So while I was preparing some PPT, I used to ask my co-scholar and other fellow scholars. I used to hear some suggestions so that I can improve my PPT. So I have to ask help, please. Then I have to be prepared whether some feedbacks might not be acceptable by me, even though I should be prepared to receive proper feedback. Then punctuality. This is the main aspect in any kind of profession. So we have to be punctual. If so, it can be said as, if we don't respect our own commitments, then who is going to respect us or our commitments? Likewise, so we have to be punctual, on time with everything. Next, be present and present yourself. We should not swagger or go on discuss something irrelevant to the topics. So then we should present in a proper manner. So these are the 5 P's for professionalism. Next, suitable environment. ஸோ நம்ம சொன்ன மாதிரி ஏற்கனவே ஒரு என்விரான்மெண்ட் அவங்களுக்கு வந்து வேர் த ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் கேன் லேர்ன் ஆக்டிவ்லி. ஸோ whenever we are changing, if we change a house or change room, even the changing of classroom itself, it would take some time to adapt. Here in our institution recently, instead of projectors, we had some that big TV where we can post slides and all. So this changeover was not readily accepted by us, because projector we had certain way of working. We used to connect laptop, we used to do certain things. Then here comes PPT, that Android TV. In that Android TV, the process itself different. Some people are struggling. I have to, here right now we can take us also in this example, the changeover of presenting slides in the Google Meet. So there is some discrepancies here. So the changing environment, it should be suitable. Once everyone is comfortable with so since everyone said that my slides are visible, then only I am accepting this environment, so that I can proceed with the teaching process. Else right now I would be focusing on how to bring the slides to everyone. So this is also applicable to suitable environment. So suitable environment, that environment can be categorized based on landscape as well as based on attitude. Based on landscape means physical environment, psychological environment, emotional environment. Then based on attitude means positive and negative. So first, physical environment, whatever classroom fan ilna fan, light, proper ventilation, and the seating arrangements, desk, everything, it should be proper for a convenient for learning. If not, that physical environment would stress us and deviate us from the listening process. Next, psychological environment. இது வந்து actually a very in-depth term or in-depth environment, because psychological nowadays becoming evolving into a more of multiple layers. So not just disliking the teacher or disliking the subject. It comes very many aspects comes into playing role in the psychological environment. So the teacher should like the student because he should not have any bias. Similarly, the student should like the teacher, and they both should like the subject, the method of teaching, and the way of teacher responding and way of student responding. Everything comes under psychological. The first impression gives a certain idea, then that becomes a psychological thought, so that whenever we are entering into a certain environment, we would feel that we are not fit in this particular environment. So that is psychological. Emotional means it can be similar to psychological, but here emotional means whenever there is a problem, நம்ம ரொம்ப கிட்ஸுக்கு சொல்ற மாதிரி தான். இப்ப நம்மளுக்கு ஒரு பிரச்சனை, ஈவன் இப்ப கிட்ஸ் ஹேவிங் எனி ப்ராப்ளம், தே வில் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ரன் டு தேர் மாம் ஆர் டேட் டு கம்ப்ளைண்ட் வாட் எவர் திங். ஸோ தட் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் எமோஷனல் சப்போர்ட் should happen in the classroom. Whenever there is a issue or problem, the student should feel safe, should feel happy to reporting to the teacher, so that the teacher will take care of everything. So that kind of emotional bonding should happen between the teacher and the students. So that though it takes time, it should happen so that the subject or even some rules, அதாவது இப்ப நம்ம வந்து நீ இது பண்ணாத, I have seen students, if he likes the teacher, even the teacher says to get out of the class, he will respectfully get out. But when he dislikes or any has any quarrels with the teacher, the student won't respect or be in a polite way. That applies to teacher also. So this is the emotional environment. Next, based on attitude, positive and negative. ஸோ நம்ம காமனாவே தெரியும், பாசிட்டிவ் நம்மளுக்கு எல்லாமே வி ஷுட் வாட் எவர் த என்விரான்மெண்ட் வி ஆர் அப்ளைங், இட் ஷுட் ப்ரொவைட் த அவர் ஓன் பாசிட்டிவ் growth in a better manner. So that should not be negative. So here the environment can be divided as positive and negative. Next, teacher student relationship. ஸோ ஒரு ஸ்டூடெண்ட்டுக்கும் டீச்சருக்கும் இருக்கிற ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் வந்து அவங்களுடைய மோட்டிவேஷனை நல்ல அகடமிக் மோட்டிவேஷன் மட்டும் இல்லாம ஆல் அதர் மோட்டிவேஷன்ஸ், everything would be in a better way. So this is commonly affected nowadays by primarily gender. Though it is not the only thing, gender plays a very strict role in the student teacher relationship, because the opposite sexes of the student teacher, if they interact, there are some, as you can understand, there are some uneven talks or uneven gossips surrounds the teacher and student. So every teacher and student is in a godful manner. அவங்க வந்து பாதுகாப்பா ஒரு கேடைய மாதிரி பிடிச்சிக்கிட்டு they are keeping a separate distance from the opposite gender of the from them, whether it is a teacher or student. So if a teacher has a good relationship with students, then the students will more readily accept the rules and procedures. நம்ம ஏற்கனவே சொன்ன மாதிரி அவங்க வந்து கரெக்டா இருந்தா the student will blindly follow the rules and procedures, even the disciplinary actions taken by the teacher. So this should be the teacher student relationship. Next, student discipline. இது இப்போ ரொம்ப கம்மியாயிடுச்சு. Very very I am telling you from my own experience. Nowadays the kind of discipline we are expecting from the student is not up to the satisfactory level, because every time we see a student misbehaving in a certain way, we used to compare ourselves with that student in our own college days or school days, where were we doing that thing, if we did that thing. For example, it is common in parents versus grandparents also. So when the parents were children, even a minor mistake they would get beating heavily, so that they would cry for whole days. Now even the grandparents did a very big mistake also, sorry, the grandchildren did a very big mistake also. The grandparents are protecting them so that they are spoiling the grandchildren. That kind of spoiling is knowingly or unknowingly developing into the school colleges also. Nowadays in schools also now students also not proper. ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொல்றேன். Actually I am sad to share this example. uh, in my near my home there was a teacher. He was going rounds while exams. He was going rounds in the classroom. When he stood behind a girl student for certain minutes, let's say minutes itself, he was watching what she was writing. But the student, what she did is, she complained to the police under POXO Act. She said that the particular teacher was watching my back, so he is having certain bad intentions. So she complained, and now the teacher is facing a uh, trial under POXO Act. So most probably he cannot come out. That's all. His life is finished because right now POXO Act and all very severe, minimum of 25 years like that. So those things she did. Now the students are utilizing the governmental laws acts in their own conditions. They are not utilizing for the proper reasons. They are misusing all those acts. But no matter what, at the moment the acts are in favorable of students. So after seeing this, my brother is almost in the teaching similar to school teaching line. What he said that by seeing this, I am not going to entering into this kind of field because there will be always a sword hanging around my neck. I cannot proceed with that. So the same statement was given to me by many, even my fellow scholars. So many where we were talking, we would be discussing like this thing. So here the student discipline is very much in a troubled manner. So those things should be taught from the school time itself. What kind of healthy foods should be eaten, what kind of routine sleep time, phone time, screen time. So how we should learn. நம்ம அந்த ஓடி விளையாடு பார்ப்போம், அந்த பாட்டுல வரும்போது காலை எழுந்தவுடன் படிப்பு, அதுக்கப்புறம் மாலை முழுவதும் விளையாட்டு. பட் ஹியர் no matter whether it is a morning or evening, every time games only, that also in mobile only, not a physical activity games. So likewise this is happening. So when entering into a school, we there are certain rules followed by even high end schools. There they are still following that strict rules. So in those schools the rules will be followed regularly. They are maintaining consistency. So when the student passed out from the school, they would have a better achievement. So minor disruptions when I am teaching, so there is, if there is a phone call is coming, that is a disruption for me. So not only to disturb my own teaching but also your own listening also. So that is the student discipline. Next is devotion of both teacher and student. As here teacher devotion is important. எனக்கு வந்து பாடம் நடத்தவே பிடிக்கல, I don't have any interest in teaching means, then I cannot provide a satisfactory teaching process to the students even though they are a well behaved genius. So I have to have passion, I have to have certain knowledge to the teaching process so that I want to bring the student in a proper manner. Likewise, students devotion should to learning also must be compulsory. So the student should have passion to learn something. For namesake, for parents sake, if the student is coming and learning certain thing, that won't last long. So the devotion of both teacher and student plays a very big role. That is the one of the requirement of the teaching process. So that's all today's class. So these are all the sum of the bibliography. So any questions?